you have it, guys. There is Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley in talks for October. If finalized, they will meet at the O2 Arena. And let me counterpunch. I think that is a very, very even fight for a lot of reasons. Because we have Parker with the WBA interim. We have Parker with the WBO interim. Fabio with the WBA interim. They're both champions, interim champions, looking for their opportunities. And why not go against each other? I think because what'll happen, if I'm not mistaken, whoever wins will take both belts. You know, I mean, I don't know the rules necessarily of how the interim works. If you're both interim champions, will you be both two-time? Will you be unified interim champions? I mean, that's a very good question to ask. I don't know. I'll do some research on that. But they are both in a position in their respective sanctioning bodies to be where they're supposed to be. Now, if I'm Fabio Wardley, though, fighting Joseph Parker is worth the stretch because that's fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world right now. Now, for Joseph Parker, I wouldn't say that's the same. Why? Because the WBO is the next in line. So, sure, he needs to keep busy because he needs another fight. And I understand him not wanting to wait around for Alexander Usyk, but then waiting around is better than getting the runaround from Daniel Dubois earlier this year. We can't forget that. And for Joseph Parker, the Justice for Joseph Parker rally banner have been created based on that particular reality, that he was jerked around. You know, I think that Joseph Parker is a guy that, you know, he deserves his shot. And at his age of 33, this is the right time. But you have to take your hat off to Joseph Parker fighting someone like Fabio Wardley because he's an undefeated fighter. No, he's not as experienced as Joseph Parker. I think it is a risk, and it is risky for both fighters because if Joseph Parker gets upset by Fabio Wardley, he lost everything that he's worked for. The last 6 fights he's won. That breaks the fight streak, and he loses his position to fight Alexander Usyk when Alexander Usyk is ready. So yeah, I think it's a risky fight for Fabio. Him going out for that, he becomes next in line. He becomes that WBO interim champion. You know, and I think it works. And I think the WBA is maybe behind the WBC. So yeah, he bumps up a couple steps based on where Parker is if he can fight Parker. So yeah, Parker would be taking a risk. Just like Joseph Parker took a risk fighting Zhilei Zhang and got beat. And Zhilei Zhang was then beat by Parker later on in a very tough fight. So yeah, it's all about riskiness. And if the fight gets made, you have to take your hat off to Joseph Parker primarily because Joseph Parker could have just sat on the opportunity like a lot of fighters would have done. You know, why would I fight Fabio Wardley, the guy with the equalizer, the tan bronze bomber, right? And risk losing it all from one shot. Even though I know Joseph Parker has a pretty good chin, and I know he has a better chin than Hooney. But at the end of the day, Fabio Wardley's hungry. Fabio Wardley's a lot younger. And I think he is very dangerous because that shot could land and it lands home. Ask Frazier Clark about that. Ask Frazier Clark about that junk. So yeah, it's a very risky fight for both guys. But somebody has to fight someone worth noticing, and it might as well be these two. Because Fabio's waiting on this opportunity. Joseph Parker's waiting on this opportunity. I get Caballero's waiting for his opportunity. You know, you have so many people waiting for the opportunity. Well, everyone can't wait for one guy. the show must move on, and they have to fight other fighters. So they might as well fight each other. So I think that's a great idea. I don't know if it's going to happen, though, honestly, just based on, Joseph Parker, but I would be impressed if it did. You guys tell me what you think of Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley in talks, possibly for October in O2 Arena. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!